guys, I know it's been a while, but I just wanted to come to you guys with a video quickly talking about my experience teaching English in Japan and English in Korea and the differences that you might experience. Some of you guys may know already that I taught English in Japan for 4 years, but I also taught English in South Korea for 1 year. So I have a little bit of experience teaching in both countries, so I'm going to talk about teaching in Japan versus teaching in Korea and the benefits that you may get from one country and the benefits you may get from another country and how those experiences kind of differ. Okay, so one of the differences about teaching in Japan versus teaching in Korea, I will say that teaching in Japan is a bit different. Where I taught, my first year I taught in a really rural area. It was like a really rural coastal town, very small town. So the school size was a lot smaller. I taught junior high school and 2 elementary schools. I was at 3 schools. So it was a bit different, not a lot of resources, not a lot of materials, but even when I left that area after 1 year and I moved to more of a bigger city in a different prefecture, I was teaching just at elementary schools and I still didn't have a lot of resources. I had to make basically all of my materials, all my posters, all my flashcards, all those materials I had to make myself. And there were times when I actually had to go to the store and buy materials if the school didn't have them. So that's one of the differences. Whereas in Korea, when I went to Korea, they're a bit more tech savvy. All my lessons were on PowerPoints, made it more easier for materials and finding things so that I could just put it on a PowerPoint. And if I did need to use physical materials, they were provided for me by the school. The school had their own English room, and there were, flashcards, there were puppets, there were, balls and things that I could use to, teach and help make lessons a bit more interesting and things like that. So I was really surprised about that. There was just a lot more resources. I don't know, maybe Korea has a bit more of a bigger funding for education depending on where you are, but at least where I was in Korea, it was a bit more well funded and resources were readily available. Okay, so another thing about teaching English in Japan versus teaching English in Korea, the students. So the students that I taught in Japan from junior high school to elementary school, their English level was really, really low. Even for junior high school with older teenage students, English level wasn't very high. But most of them still had an eagerness to learn English. I mean, of course, that would wane and change depending on the students and the grade and how old they got. They get too cool for school. But a lot of them were really interested in learning English. They were really interested about me. They were really interested in learning about America and, my culture and stuff like that, despite having a very low English level. Same thing with the staff. When I would do lesson planning with my co-teachers, it was almost always in Japanese. I had maybe 1 or 2 teachers who spoke enough English to lesson plan in, but with my other teachers, we would have to do it in Japanese with my poor Japanese skills. I mean, it was enough to get the point across. It was enough to show them what we were doing for the day, but yeah, that's how it was with my teachers, with my principals, all my other co-teachers. It was all in Japanese. Everything was done in Japanese. Very low English level. Whereas in Korea, again, the English level was way higher. The students, even my youngest students, I had students in 4th grade elementary school, and I could have simple conversations with them. They really had a higher English level. My teachers too. I had 3 co-teachers in Korea, and all of them spoke enough English where we could all do lesson planning. And my Korean is pretty much non-existent. It's a lot worse than my Japanese because I spent less time in Korea than I did in Japan. But yeah, the English level is really different. The kids in Korea, I had a really nice school. My kids were great, little angels. Even my highest level, my 5th grade, 6th grade kids, they were all super sweet, just the nicest kids. A bit rambunctious at times, but other than that, I mean they're kids. They're gonna be crazy. But other than that, no, they were great. Pretty much on par with my Japanese kids as far as like their attitude and behavior was. They were really nice kids, and the only real difference is just the difference in English level. I did have to change a lot of my lessons plans that I brought with me from Japan to accommodate a higher level of English because I was so used to teaching such a lower level of English. So that was a difference in teaching there.